Hello design lovers, I'm Ashley Childers and today I'm going to share a few easy and beautiful ways to get your home ready for spring. I'll show you step by step how I gave my home a quick spring refresh. Share a few easy floral arrangements you can create to bring in a fresh spring vibe, and share my dining room table design to help get you inspired to create a beautiful tablescape for Easter, Passover, or any other spring get-together. I know you're gonna love today's video, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can get more weekly design goodness as we drop a new video every Saturday. Let's get started refreshing my home for spring, my very favorite season. We are going to start right here in the entry. First, I grounded this table grouping with this large ceramic vase. This is from my home furnishings collection with global views. It is our Bengal vase and I love the scale of it, and it's perfect to add flowering branches too. So I have added these really beautiful, artful redbud branches. I love redbud branches because of the slight hint of lavender, and you're going to see this lavender color throughout the rest of my spring decor. Secondly, I've got this glass vase that also has a hint of lavender, and I have filled it with some beautiful light pink roses, another sculptural ceramic piece with that pop of white for that fresh spring feeling, and then just some really beautiful floral scented room diffusers. And that is all I need on the entry table to make a beautiful spring statement. I spoke to lavender a minute ago, but I want to go a little bit deeper on that subject. Lavender is the color that signifies spring for me. So I always like to incorporate pops of lavender throughout my spring decor. I do that through glassware, ceramics, floral, pillows, and even some decorative accessories. I encourage you to choose a color that signifies spring for you and use that color kind of integrated throughout your spring decor to bring that fresh spring feeling into your home. Now we have moved into my great room, and I want to share with you a few simple tweaks that I made to the decor in this space to bring in that spring vibe that I was so desperately craving after months of rainy, cold weather. First, I changed out a few small decorative accessories that were a little bit darker toned for lighter, brighter pieces. Light, bright ceramics, woven boxes, fun vintage decor with a spring feel, and floral scented candles all create that fresh spring look. Next up, pillows and throw blankets, which honestly are so easy to change out from season to season. It's the first place that I start when I want to bring a new vibe to a space. So for spring, I changed out all of the heavy wool pillows and throw blankets and added in gauzy linen throws and beautiful cotton pillows. Changing out my throw pillows also gave me another opportunity to weave in that beautiful lavender color that hallmarks spring for me. Over to this sweet little spring table vignette, I took away the dark ceramic pieces that I had on this table for the winter season, and all I did was add in these pretty little yellow rosebuds and this fun vintage butterfly box. I love this piece and I bring it out every spring. It is just a reminder that warmer months are to come. For this side of the great room, I kept the theme going of the pops of lavender and added in these really fun faux croc stools, and then also a beautiful little lavender pillow paired with the blooming tulip branches that are in this incredible vintage pot on the pedestal. Also, I loved bringing in these fun little beaded boxes that I picked up on a recent trip to the Bahamas with my husband, and also added these beautiful woven boxes on the buffet to add a little spring texture to that vignette. And last but not least, I added in this fun little floral arrangement and white ceramic bowl that is from my collection. Now that you've seen the floral arrangements in my home, I want to take you into the kitchen and show you how to create fun and easy floral arrangements for spring. Before we move into the kitchen to put together our spring floral arrangements, I want to share a pro tip with you about how to display flowering branches in your home. So oftentimes we like to put flowering branches in large pots like this. And it's really difficult sometimes to find large pots that are watertight. And then also think about how heavy this pot would be if I filled it with water. So pro tip is to find a smaller glass vessel that you can fill with water and place down inside of the larger piece to hold your branches in place and to keep the pot from being so heavy. Okay, friends, so now we are in my kitchen and I just want to walk through a couple of little floral techniques that you can use to bring spring into your home this season. And luckily for us, we hosted a beautiful bridal shower this weekend, so I have got all the leftover flowers from it. And I'm going to use all these gorgeous flowers to create some fun little arrangements to place throughout the house. So let's get started. First of all, vintage apron, obviously we have to have that on. And I want to show you kind of an unexpected way to do a floral arrangement that I love. I use this technique all of the time. It's really easy and super unexpected and looks very chic and sophisticated. So first of all, I'm going to use this pretty little pedestal, and I've got this very shallow dish. So start with a shallow dish. I want to put it up on the pedestal and I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to fill it in with some moss, but inside of the little floral dish, I've got a frog. This is a floral frog, and I have these in all different sizes and I love using them for this type of arrangement. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is on this arrangement, I'm going to start with these like wispy green guys. I just think they're so fun and they have a really like stout stem. So you want that if you're going to use a floral frog in a shallow arrangement like this. So we're just going to start placing these onto the floral frog. Beware of the floral frogs, they're a little bit pokey, obviously. Normally I snip the stems of flowers for an arrangement on an angle, but for this application, go ahead and just snip it flat so that it sticks straight down into the frog. Okay, so I've placed all of these little wispy guys in their shallow dish, and you see how fun that looks. I just love that they're all sprouting out from top of this pedestal. So now, just a little added decorator detail. Let's go ahead and take some of our sheet moss and just fill in the whole entire top of this little dish. The sheet moss is a bit messy. That's okay. It all cleans up. I like to just kind of get it tucked in between each one of the stems as well, so you don't see any of the frog or the little dish underneath. Okay, that's it, y'all. Look at how cute that turned out. So here we are. This one is ready to go. It was so easy. It literally took me like 3 minutes to put this arrangement together, and it's beautiful. And as long as you make sure and top off the water, this will last for over a week. So now we're going to move on to a different kind of arrangement, and I have got this glass container. I use it all the time because I love that it has this kind of onion shape and a very small mouth, and you'll see why I love this. I love using it for various flowers, but I'm going to do a rose arrangement in here for today. So I've got these beautiful roses from the bridal shower, and they are opened up and kind of relaxed, and I actually prefer roses that way. So pro tip on roses and really any other flower that's really tightly closed up when you purchase them, buy them a few days in advance from your event or your dinner or whatever you are wanting to do an arrangement for, because they need time to open up and really kind of come into their full beauty. So the way that I like to do arrangements in this type of vessel is kind of just group them in my hand like I was putting together a little bouquet, and get them in the shape that I want. I always, for this type of vessel, I always pull most of the leaves off. You don't want any leaves down in the water because it's going to contaminate the water. Okay, so now you see I have grouped them all together and they look like they're a little bouquet. And we're going to just snip I like to always just kind of measure. I want these really low to the bowl, so we're gonna just snip the ends off just ever so slightly so they're all even. And then I'm gonna show you, they're going to kind of splay out when I put them in the vase. So I'm just gonna kind of tuck them tightly in. And then after I've got them in there, see, I didn't use all the roses. I can go back in and say, okay, I need a few more. So I'm going to place them in after I put the bulk of the little bouquet in there. The more, the merrier. Okay, so look, that was so easy, y'all. It's 5 minutes, maybe less than 5 minutes. And look how pretty that looks. I'm gonna put it in my entry. And then these gorgeous flowers from the bridal shower will live on another probably few days, almost week. Okay, one more flower arrangement that I wanted to speak to today is something that you could use on your Easter table or in your kitchen for Easter or spring, whatever. I am going to use this vintage gathering basket that I purchased that I am obsessed with. I saw it and had to have it and wanted to use it for Easter this year. So let's talk about how to do an arrangement in an open weave basket like this. First of all, I've got this glass vessel that I have filled with clean water, and I'm gonna show you how that just sits right down inside of the basket. But we're gonna not start there. We're going to start lining the basket with sheet moss. And I just think this is a fun little added detail. It can get a little messy, like I said earlier, but that's okay because it's worth it in the end. So we're just going to press the sheet moss up the sides of this basket. Okay, so I have got the moss all lining the inside of the basket. Took me like 2 minutes to do that. And then now I'm just going to take that little glass vase and snug it down inside of our moss, and look, it completely disappears and we can start building our arrangement. Okay, so now we've got our vase down inside, and let's start filling the basket in with some floral stems. I want to start with these beautiful, tall blue flowers. I am obsessed with them and think they're going to look so pretty on the tablescape. I'm going to give them a little snip because they're pretty tall, and since that vase doesn't go all the way down inside because of the moss, it's actually, the vase stops about right here. So you have to kind of be aware of that as you're building out your arrangement. Something to think about too as you are doing arrangements like this with tall stems, you could easily put a floral frog down in the vase, or a lot of times I will use a little floral cage, which is this right here. These are really helpful if you need to like secure the flowers down inside of a vase. But this vase is pretty small and I'm going to fill it up. So honestly, I don't think I really need anything. So I've got all the blue flowers in, and now remember, I'm just working with what we had from the bridal shower. So I'm going to fill in with this greenery because I feel like we just need a little bit of greenery at the bottom. Place these in. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to take these sweet little purple flowers that I absolutely am obsessed with and fill those in as well. Also, something to think about when you are building flower arrangements is how flowers grow in nature. And a lot of times, kind of depending on the flower, they actually grow in clumps. So instead of just trying to stick in a single stem somewhere, that's not gonna do very much for us. I always like, especially in a large arrangement, to group them together and then tuck them in. And what happens is it gives you a more natural look. Looks like they would occur in nature. Okay, I am done with that arrangement. So easy, less than 5 minutes. I only have 3 different elements in it, and look how pretty it looks. It's the perfect Easter basket arrangement for your dining table or kitchen or entry. Now that you have gotten inspired to create some beautiful spring floral arrangements, I want to speak to creativity for just a second before we move into how I decorated our kitchen for spring. So for me, creativity is a lifestyle. I am an interior designer, I'm a product designer, and I have to be creative for others every single day. Floral arranging for me is a creative outlet that is just for myself. So I highly recommend that you find a creative outlet for yourself. Something that you enjoy doing, something that brings you happiness and brings beauty to your home. First, let's discuss how I quickly styled our island for spring. As I told you earlier, I have all these beautiful flowers left over from a bridal shower that we hosted this weekend. So I used some of those and put them in this sweet little pitcher. This is a vintage pitcher. I've got a couple of them placed in this woven vase, and I love to incorporate woven pieces into the kitchen and other spaces in my home for spring. I think it's just a really great kind of hallmark of spring and summer. Also, I added in these really pretty tulip tree branches and red buds into this pretty white vase. And I think, oh, at the front, look, I did also add this fun little vintage brass pitcher because it's the cutest thing ever and looks beautiful grouped in with the flowers on top of a vintage cutting board. And that's it. That's all I needed to bring spring to our island. Over here on our range wall, I just made a few quick little adjustments to usher in spring, and that is adding this woven tray. And then I've got some of those leftover florals and just a really pretty crisp white bowl of Granny Smith apples. We've moved to the other side of the range, and this is, you've probably seen this in other videos, this is a vintage beaker holder from a chemistry lab that I scored at High Point Market, and I absolutely love it. And all I did to bring spring to this little corner of our kitchen was just add some really pretty light pink ranunculus, and they make a really beautiful spring statement. Last but not least, let's talk about how I styled our open shelving for spring. So I wanted to bring in that lavender color that I have sprinkled in throughout the rest of the rooms in our home. And I did that over here on this side of the kitchen with these really beautiful lavender vintage cups. Also, I just added in some floral down here at the bottom and then changed out our everyday black plates for these really beautiful VA tree white ones. That's all I needed to do on this side of the kitchen to bring a little fresh spring vibe to this space. Now that we are done with the kitchen, let's move into my dining room. I want to share with you how I styled our dining table for Easter. Finally, here we are in my dining room, and I want to discuss my Easter tablescape and the pieces that I used to create the look. First, back here on our buffet, I have placed that vintage gathering basket that I created the floral arrangement in earlier, and I love how the blue flowers tie in to some of the pieces on the table. On our dining table, I used a hand-blocked Indian, really beautiful tablecloth. I love the colors of it, and you'll see as we go through the tablescape that the colors of pink and green are picked up throughout the different elements that I used. So that's our base. Then I added in this really beautiful antique set of rose chintz tableware. I actually just recently purchased this and I'm absolutely in love with it. I love the colors in it and I cannot wait to use it every single Easter. In addition to that, I picked up the blues that I was speaking to in the flowers in the candles and this really beautiful little vintage glass bowl. And then even our glassware has a hint of blue to it as well. These are handmade glass pieces that I got at a vintage store. Obviously, I'm a huge vintage shopper and pretty much everything on the table is vintage. I have a really beautiful vintage brass flatware set. And then also recently I scored these awesome stone Easter eggs. So I just have kind of sprinkled those around. I've added in a few of my great-grandmother's doilies that she crocheted that are very special to me. They are my treasures. And then last but not least, I used this really pretty, kind of funky vintage basket to create a low floral arrangement on the table. And I love to sprinkle in small arrangements throughout the table that are low and kind of create an asymmetrical vignette. I always like an asymmetrical vignette because I feel like it just brings a little bit of a casual vibe to the dining table. So there you have it. That is our Easter tablescape this year, and I hope that it inspires you to use some vintage pieces that you have, or maybe go out and find some new things locally to mix in to your table to bring a little bit of history and nostalgia to your spring tablescapes. Okay, design lovers, who is ready to jump right in and get your home decorated for spring? If you loved this video, I want you to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments which one of my decor tips is your favorite. If you love all things design, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Ashley Childers Home so you can follow along with my daily design adventures. And if you want even more designer styling tips, you're going to want to check out this playlist next. I'm Ashley Childers, and thank you for watching. And remember, good design is for everyone, so create a home that inspires you, have fun decorating your space for the new season, and fall in love with where you live, one room at a time.